Hello, 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 and welcome everyone. Welcome everyone to the April 8th edition of Systems Lab Live. We are back in the mix for a really special live stream event. We are here weekly, except for last week, which we took just a short, quick hiatus as I was doing some preparation for a really cool event where I was teaching project management and entrepreneurship for the Northern Virginia Black Chamber of Commerce. So that's why we weren't there last week. But welcome, everyone. My name is Ashley Schuler. I'm the host of Systems Lab Live. We're here every single week. What are we doing? We're here to talk about how do we lead teams, manage projects, and developing processes? This is the number one live stream and only live stream that is dedicated to the teaching and training of project leaders and professionals across the globe as we break down concepts all on project management, all on the intricate nature of the day-to-day work. And so I'm excited to be with you all tonight. Let me just adjust the little bit of lighting. Okay, I feel like I'm lit up a little bit better. So everyone, here we are. And this is just such an exciting time. We are live right now from YouTube, LinkedIn Live, and Instagram. And so it is just a wonderful time to be here with you all. And we got some really cool things that are in store over the next several weeks. We are in the Built from Scratch series. For those of you that in the first time, or maybe you forgot because, between the social medias and the platform and, all the things that you are doing, sometimes it's just hard to keep up. Like what's going on? What you doing this week? Why you doing all the things of what you're doing? So let's talk a little bit about what this whole thing is going on when we talk about building from scratch. So we're in a brand new season where we're talking about what does it take. This is like the critical question. What does it take to build a program, a project, an initiative from scratch? Right? When we talk about projects, we're talking about anything from marketing campaigns to event plans, events and event planning. We're talking about launching of products and services, VIP days, Airtable services, coaching, launching a NFT. Hello. If you guys remember, I had a little thing back in the day of like the NFT world. So listen, there's so much really cool work that is going on. And so this is an opportunity where we gather together weekly to do some training around how we go about building out really great work and how it affects our clients and our communities and people that we don't even know. Right. That's the cool nature of what it means to build from scratch. And so we're talking about the fundamentals of project management with that. We're talking about how you go and figure out the scope, the money, how you make sure that the project doesn't get off track, how to stay productive, how to motivate your team. It's just a lot. And so that's why we go through and have themed out series and themed days and whatnot, just so that you guys can just take each week, take in the content and go about taking this work and doing it. So where else shall we start, people? Because there's just so much. And so then we also have the podcast. Okay, Conversations with Ask Ash. For those of you that don't know, I have my podcast. I have a podcast. I have about 60 plus episodes. You can go right now to conversationswithascash.com. It's inside the show notes, also links in bios and whatnot. And so the season is on the question, what does it take to build a project, program, and initiative? We spent the first 5 episodes breaking all of that down, from digital operations to scope, from risk, budgeting, all the really cool things. Okay. And the second half of the season, I'm excited because we're doing interviews. Interviews. I love interviews. I love interviews. And so we're going to be it's good. It's really, really good. I'm just excited about the interviews because I got to interview some of my favorite people. some of my favorite people that I've built relationships with over the past couple of years. And we're just talking about their lives, how they've built from scratch, from businesses to their life to their family to everything in between. And I wanted to take a digital storytelling approach inside what would be considered a technical subject. Why? Because A, we're all human, and B, there's always the human element that is centered around the work that we're doing. So why not talk to the people that are doing the work, and what is their thought process? Why do they do what they do? What's the decision making behind that? How did they go about accomplishing what it is that they set out to do? And maybe it worked, maybe it didn't, but they are going to give some fantastic advice. And I'm just loving it. I'm just loving it. And then let's talk about it. I'm also loving this green on me. Okay. Oh, come on, somebody. I'm loving this green. I just feel like it's illuminating me. Okay. That's what I just came here to say. I just want to make y'all laugh a little bit. Especially for those of you that are on the replay. I know you probably like this girl crazy. So we have some good information to be talking about tonight. We're gonna be talking about client communication, team communication, and ClickUp. And we're going to take our time with this tonight. There's going to be some really good information that's going to be shared. Get your notepads out. Make sure you go back onto the YouTube, and make sure that you go and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Go and watch the replay. I have about 100 and some videos. Oh, let's see. Let's go and actually see how many videos I got. Okay, and I need to clip this up afterwards. Shout out to Descript. But I'm going to definitely be clipping this up. Okay, it says I have 146 videos. Okay, I tried to do my best, y'all, with putting them in playlists. I think this is okay. You know, when you start putting this together in playlists. I'm trying to see. I'm going to go to my incognito window and see if this works. But friends, I really wanted to make sure that I put. Okay, and I think this works. I think we just have a lot of information. Let me see if I can share my screen so y'all can see it. But we just have, there's a whole bunch of information. And I'm actually glad I did it this way. Hold on, let me see. Present, share screen. Let's see who we got here. Okay, cool. Yeah, you'll see all these different types of series right here. I think this is what we have. Yeah. You can see it's just there's just so much. There is just so much. We have it all here. Yeah, we have it all here. We got to figure out too, you know, how best to organize, but we got everything from content operations to the next gen digital PM section 2. Yeah, we got session 1, session 2 on that. Collaboration in real time. Let's see, leadership. Let me what we got here. The daily practice, podcast workflows. I love a good conversation on podcast workflows, but we got tons of content here, folks. And so my dream, honestly, is to get my website together, and I can start to theme it out, have some blogs, have some an interactive thing going on. Yeah. So anyway, that was a little of a what do you call a detour. What's happening, Steven? What's happening in the story of my life? Underscore EST81. Good to see you. Good to see you. I'm going to bring up. I'm going to bring up good notes. I'm going to bring up good notes. And I'd love to know in the chat. Tell me. What are you working on? I think this is a vitally important question that we always delay. What are you working on? What are you working on this month? Let's go. Let's go right there. I think this is a good question because I believe that this live stream will be able to help you out with that. Okay. So here we go, folks. We're going to go to our handy dandy good notes and okay. And we're going to share. So we're talking tonight about communication, how to create a communications plan, why it's necessary to have a communications plan, and how to streamline that using ClickUp. For those of you who are not familiar with ClickUp, raise your hand. No, I'm just kidding. I said raise your hand. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm actually being funny. Raise your hand, folks. Are you familiar with ClickUp? Yay or nay? Yay or nay in the comments. Do you know what ClickUp is? Do y'all know what ClickUp is? Let me know, people. Let me know if y'all know what ClickUp is. Okay, well, let me explain. ClickUp is a project management tool. It is a project management tool. Let me we're gonna do this right quick. Let's take the overlay off for a minute. Yeah, we just want to position this correctly. Okay, so what is ClickUp? ClickUp is a project management tool that is there to, it's a software, it's a software app that is there to help you, yourself, your team members, your friends, help you to organize your tasks, organize your projects so that you can get your work done more efficiently. That's what it is. If you've heard of Asana, then you've heard of ClickUp. If you heard of ClickUp, you heard of Notion. If you've heard of Notion, then you've heard of Smartsheet. If you ever heard of Smartsheet, then maybe you've heard of Microsoft Project. Okay. So, and Trello. There are so many of these types of tools that are out here. And so project management tools are necessary for you to have as a business owner. Not only are you bringing in clients, you are, drawing sales in, you are coaching, you are doing all the things. You are a full-time content creator or podcaster. You are someone that creates logos and websites. You need a way to effectively manage your work. So I said last week to the Northern Virginia Black Chamber of Commerce, the accelerator group, I told the group that the project management aspect of your business is critical to the client experience. For those of you that are familiar with the client experience or have heard of that, you're probably like, okay, I've heard of the client experience. Okay, some of you that are a little more advanced, y'all been rocking with me for a minute. Y'all already know, where we're about to go. The client experience is everything from the end-to-end operations of your brand in your business and everything in between. So it's everything from the first touch point, everything from, if you have a product, you're packaging it, it's the customer service, it's the emails, it's the automations, it's when they receive it, it's the shipping, it's the handling, it is the coaching sessions, the depsado, the all the things that happen. It is the technology, it is the special sauce that you have, it's your framework. And then it's also too the project management piece. How am I going from start to finish? How am I going from start to finish when it comes to the handling of the client work? And guess what, folks? Everybody has managed projects. Okay. Everyone has project led something, and you're doing it right now. However, there's always an aspect to this type of work where there's more of a formalized training. There's more of people that may have a more knack to this whole thing, right? And so tonight we're here to really talk about communication and ClickUp. And so we're going into this built from scratch series, going and maybe being a little bit more tactical in what we're talking about. So we've talked a lot, I think of theory and application and things, but now we're bringing it together with a technology component, because this is really going to be important to how you get your work done. This project management piece, this aspect of you utilizing ClickUp is going to make or break the client experience that you have. Therefore, setting the tone of repeatable customers and scaling your business. That's right. I'm not saying that the actual app itself is dependent on your success, but what I'm saying is being able to understand how to have a process in place from start to finish to manage a project is extremely important for your bottom line. I hope you love it. I hope you love it because I love it. I hope you love it because I love it. Let's go. Let's go. Okay, so we're going to set the tone. We're going to talk about communication. We're going to talk about what's going on in the world, in the marketplace. We're going to talk about how you're going to put together a communications plan. We're going to walk through that, and then we're going to go into some tips and tricks of how you can do that on a practical level utilizing ClickUp. My. Okay. Yeah. So let's talk about it. Okay. I love to see it. So let me do this, folks. Hold on. I have this here. Okay. Can you all see this? I hope that you can see it. You have Tiny Ash on the bottom corner. Shout out to Tiny Ash. Okay. So I want to talk through, one of these points right here, which is according to Gallup's State of the Global Workplace 2022 report, disengaged employees cost the world an unbelievable $7.8 trillion in lost productivity. When we talk about employees being disengaged, what we're talking about is we're talking about the way in which we communicate to our team members. Okay, that's exactly what we are talking about. That's what we're referencing. Excuse me, y'all. Get a little parched already. So I'm getting excited. Oh, a little Voxer came through. Shout out to DeSola Davis. I love that the little Voxer app has a little bloop, bloop. It's fantastic. Okay. So here's where we are, folks. When we're talking about the 7.8 trillion in lost productivity, we're talking about a lack of process, lack of systems, lack of communication. There's it's just lack of all around. It's just like lack of times 3. That's what's happening. I'd love to know in the comments where you all are currently in your workplace, whether you're corporate, whether you are a part of an agency. Shout out to all my agency owners. We're going to be talking through as well. Have a ClickUp VIP day where we can talk through these issues in a more of an intimate level as I build out your ClickUp space. But you can get all that information in the show notes to talk with me about that. But disengaged employees cost the world an unbelievable 7.8 trillion lost productivity. This smells and screams lack of processes. That's just me. And so what do we do about that? We're going to talk about that in a minute. Studies show also that employees who are engaged are 87% less likely to leave an organization. What does this mean? This is culture. This is effort put into building teams, which means that communication is at the core of this. Why do we talk so much about communication? And there was also earlier this year, I believe in January, I had a communication, I think I call it communication 2.0, something along those lines. But we really dived in really deeply to talk about internal communication, external communication, async communication, how to put together a communications plan. And I think it's worth it to go back to those live streams. But now we're here talking tactically about how we do that utilizing a tool like ClickUp. And we are we are reviewing and diving in deeply into that information. I'm telling y'all, this is just exciting stuff. So the two things that we have to take away from these two stats, the 7.8 trillion loss in productivity, and we have to take into account the 87% that are less likely to leave an organization. What we're talking about here in this instant, we are talking about culture. We're talking about communication. We're talking about how we relate to one another as directors and direct reports, employees and team members, X, Y, and Z. That's what we're really talking about. And I think it's really important that we understand that when we talk about communication, it's not just like, hey, let's just let up a slack. We're really talking about how to become intentional about creating a culture that is going to foster community, that's going to motivate individuals to be able to do their work in an environment where they feel inspired, an environment where they feel as if they are connected to the work at hand. And this, my friends, this takes more than just, gosh, we just need to set up the Slack, or man, ClickUp is just gonna help us get it all together. Yeah, there's a certain aspect where the systems and the processes are crucial to the how you execute the work. But there's also this aspect of being intentional and in utilizing the fact that your leadership skills are needed in this hour, in this time. You know what I'm saying? That's what's needed. That is what is needed. Okay. Are we on the same page, people? Because I feel like we are. I feel like we are on the same page with this. So if we go up here and we also see another stat, look at this, folks. Womp, womp, womp. Miscommunication can cost a company of 100 employees or less $420,000 per year. I love this. We're getting a little more tactical, folks, right? Because we want to make it make sense. Some of you all may be saying to yourself, well, Ashley, I don't think we got a culture problem. I don't think we got a culture problem, or, I think we real cool on, the fact that we feel productive. Okay. And it's all going to be subjective. It's all going to be quite subjective. So, but this right here, come on, what say you, folks? Where do you fit in the mix? Miscommunication for a company that is 100 employees or less, people, $420,000 per year. All on miscommunication. Well, 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 well. Well, 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 well. And we're going to be talking a bit about ways that we can streamline miscommunication in just a minute. But let's make sure that this stat does not walk away from us. Let's not and say we did. Hmm? Let's say 53% of people have missed messages as a result of communication issues in their business. Okay, how do we want to, let me just make sure this is enlarged in the right way. Okay. Okay. No, that's not what I wanted to do. We're going to stay right here. Okay. 53% of people have missed messages. Let's back that up. 53% of people, 53% of people have missed messages as a result of communication issues in their business. Well, 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 folks. Well, well, well. Missed messages. So we're talking through Slack or their PM tool. Okay? Because there was no particular process in place. Perhaps there was another type of understanding that was taking place. But 53%, that's a lot. That's a lot. But what do we do about this? I mean, I think that's the big question, is what do we do? This is great that we have these stats, Ashley, but let's talk about the so what factor. Let's talk about the so what factor, folks. Let's talk about the so what factor. And so I think when we talk about so what, why this is so important is because we are at a critical juncture in a lot of our businesses and in our brands and what we're building, where we can't really afford to have $1 allocated to a particular part of the business, the project, that isn't going to have an ROI. Let's talk about return of investment. Let's talk about the return of investment. Okay. The ROI. What's the ROI of miscommunication? That's a nice little t-shirt. What's the ROI of miscommunication? Loss of money, loss of team members, clients, late deliverables, rework. There's always a cost. There's always a cost to disorganization. There's always a cost. And so not having a system in place where you can organize your work, streamline the communication to be able to execute effectively is just wasting everybody's time. because that's the one thing that you can't get back, which is time. And so tonight we're spending time walking through and talking through what are these elements of building a communication plan? What exactly does that look like? And then two, what are the key ways that we can do that inside of the ClickUp project management tool? So I'm going to go right here. And I wrote on here as well. We'll have some writing time soon. But building an effective communications plan. We have some things to kind of share. I'll make myself little Ash in a minute. But let's talk, people, because I think this is mightily important for us to walk through. I want to. Okay, let me see if this works. Okay, this is exactly what I wanted. Okay, I'm loving this. So before you even get to clicking it up, before you get into all this, what's going on, Salvi? Hope you're doing well. Before you get it to ClickUp, have a plan. Have a plan for how you're going to work this communication system out. That's my number one recommendation. How do you do that, Ashley? I'm so super glad that you have asked that question. So I'm going to talk about some questions that you should be thinking through when it comes to building out communication. We can look at some things tactically from a team perspective versus a client perspective when we look at that inside of ClickUp. So I want you to ask yourself this question: is what is your central communications platform, aka your single source of truth? I talked about single source of truth at the accelerator program last week, talking through project management and entrepreneurs. And I talked about you need a single source of truth. You need a place where you can centralize the work, where you can go in, manage the task, execute the task, rework the task, get approval for the task, move it on to the next phase, and then execute. You need a place where you can be able to grab documents, right, that are related to the task, that you're not searching and pillaging through Google Drive or Dropbox, that you're not looking through email frantically and what do you call rapidly. I don't know about that one, but we're gonna go with it for time's sake. And so that's what we say when we talk about the central communication platform. So that could be Slack. I endorse that. I endorse that as your central, as your core single source of truth. Okay. Now, can you utilize ClickUp and Slack? This, my friends, is a nice little debate, a nice little conversation I'm having over on Team LinkedIn, because I am Team LinkedIn. Come on. I think it's really important that we put tools in their proper context. Slack is a great platform for team building and communication. This is where, my friends, you can really create some really great synergy between your team members and the projects, and organize them in channels, and use the Canvas feature and pin messages and automate workflows. There is just a lot of power inside of Slack that you can use. You can even integrate it with some of your favorite tools like Miro or Zoom and ClickUp as well, referencing certain tasks. But this is where you can get the total context of your project in terms of approvals, deliverables, client conversations, things that you may not want to have live inside of the project, the project platform, the software app itself. So pick your single source of truth. Decide when you need asynchronous and synchronous communication. Async communication is all the rage these days. No, it's something that popped up during the pandemic, where when we talk about async communication, we're really talking about the lag time that a sender sends a message to the receiver. You do not have to answer right away. You don't have to sit there and try to figure out, okay, is this person online? You know, do I need to say, X, Y, and Z, all the things in between? You know, do I got to sit there and present, you know, all of these things, folks? We really, really want to ensure that you all are understanding that asynchronous communication is really good for routine meetings. They're really good for when you want to do your deep thinking work, your individualized time. And then you save energy for this more synchronous communication where that might be more strategy. Okay. You're going to have more strategy and you may need more brainstorming meetings. You may need to figure out and problem solve. And so there is something to be said about knowing how you should use synchronous and asynchronous communication. How often do we communicate? This is really good. It's just frequency. We're talking about the frequency in which you should be thinking about communicating with your team members and your clients. Now, I'm always going to err on the side of communicate early and often, communicate all the time. I think it's very, very necessary to do so. I think you can't not communicate enough. But once you all get into a rhythm of communication with your team members, you will be able to see how effective that you all are in terms of, again, when you need to have meetings that are just strictly inside of Slack, whether you need to have 15-minute syncs every other day or so, when you need to plan out your strategy meetings, kickoff meetings, things of that nature. And then also, what is the expected response time? Really good to really set the expectations, especially if you're working with contractors. And also, I also failed to mention this is that a great aspect of async communication is really it's good for the global aspect of the work that we often run into, right? This is a aspect where you have people that are in India, they're in London, they're in Zambia, they're in Egypt, they're in so many different places, Greece, Spain, Mexico, wherever they are. They're all over the world. And so asynchronous communication allows the flexibility for people who live in foreign countries and maybe you're in the US. You can be able to freely be able to communicate and work effectively, where you're not dependent on that particular person to be on when you're on. So if you have office hours from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., you you don't and you have work that's contracted out, you most likely may not even need that person to be working when you're working. But it all depends again on the structure of your business, your expectations, what you have set forth. So I think it's good. Like the async allows to give breadth and depth for work that is cutting across time zones. So think of these questions. Reach out to me if you have some ideas that you want to bounce around. But whatever that you do want to go ahead and create the communications plan. That's what you're going to want to do. You're going to want to document whatever it is that you do. You're going to come up with a playbook. I'm a big fan, and we can talk about that a little bit later about Coda and how you can use that tool. But tonight we'll be talking about how you can build out a communications plan inside of ClickUp. How you can do that. So what I'm going to do is I will, and this is really what I just wanted to raise up, is key features for ClickUp Docs. Key features. Let me see. Let me see if this works. Okay. All right. Let's see if we have. Show this. And I'm going to press this. Okay. And we're going to write out some of the key features in the docs section. And then we'll go and look at that also in real time. So, all right. So I'm just going to write here some of the key features that you'll want to look at. So you'll definitely want to have an overview. Mm, oh, okay. I see. Let me close this out. I will close this out. I know what we'll want to do. Close window. Okay. Cool. All right. Disconnect. Okay. Great. So here we are. Okay. So here's what we'll do. We'll go. I'm going to write a couple few notes, and then we'll get back to this part. But for what you'll want to do in terms of setup for the ClickUp docs, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to write a few headings out. And I'm going to write a couple of them out now, and then I'll bring them up, and then we will do some examples. So I think that would be a lot of fun. So what are some of the key aspects that you'll want to look into? You'll first want to have an overview section of your ClickUp communications doc. So you want to outline this, and you'll want to say, all right, we're going to have our overview. You're going to want to have something where you're going to have the purpose, writing this down, and then I'll share the screen. And then you're definitely going to have the audience. Who is this for? The overview, purpose, and audience are going to be three key factors that you're going to want to look at. You're going to want to be able to put the overview, the purpose, and the audience. You want to put those out there. You want to make that as descriptive as possible. So this could be a team communications doc. This could be something that is for the internal team members that you have on how you're going to communicate with one another. What are the systems? What are the tools? How to use email? How to use Slack? How are you using ClickUp? How are you utilizing interacting with Dropbox? How do you label things? All of that's communication. And then the same thing, there should be a section then that you'll have for client communication. So you'll want to have a section that is going to dive into the internal communications, aka inside the vault. Let's see. Internal communications. So you'll want to think through, meeting cadence. You'll want to think through the process. And this is like this could be even for how you even do approvals. And again, I'm just doing a little bit of spitballing here. You want to talk about the tools that you use. It's really a playbook, a guidebook on how you're going to do this thing called work. How are you going to do it? How are you going to do it? And I think this is, like I said, super duper important. Let me share this really here. The browser can access your screen. Try capturing a different screen. Ooh, interesting. Okay, let's see. I feel like this comes up when I do something super fancy. Okay, wow. Come on. Oh, the browser can't access your screen. Like I said, okay. Well, that's okay, folks. We're just gonna keep it moving. And if we have to next week do a little more show and tellish, then we will. But you'll be inside of ClickUp 3.0, the docs portion. You'll take out a fresh Google Doc, and what you'll do is you will begin to use the headings: overview, purpose, audience, and internal communication. Write a descriptive summary. What does that mean? You all may even call it something else. You just might, yeah, you might even call, like, you know, the rules of the road or something like that. Something along those lines. Okay. So internal comms. So the meeting cadence, the process for approvals, the tools that you use, the systems that you use, things like that. That's going to be really important. SOPs. Ooh, we cooking now. We cooking now. SOPs. That's crucial. It could be SOP training. Ooh, knowledge management. I think that's a great piece to it. Knowledge management. So good. So good. Ah, I love it. I love it. So this is all things when we talk about SOPs, standard operating procedures, whatever that looks like for your brand and your business. Have the SOPs there, have them documented, have them linked. Knowledge management, one of my favorites, people, we'll definitely do built from scratch knowledge management edition, and why that's super, super important. So when we talk about knowledge management, we're talking about the idea of being able to capture, analyze, synthesize information in such a way where it can be captured and someone can take like a template of sort. Maybe it is a PowerPoint, maybe it is a training, maybe it is a template of some sort, and that individual is able to utilize it for their particular project. So that's what we talk about. We talk about the information that's here. We talk about how it's captured, documented, synthesized, analyzed, and then how you disseminate it out and about to your team members and to the company. That right there could set me off, for another 2 hours talking about knowledge management. Super good, super, super good. But again, this is just the team, or excuse me, the internal portion of your communications. And so what I love about ClickUp Docs 3.0 is that you can do a lot of things, and you can do it in 2.0 as well. Feel free, if you have YouTube, if you have Loom videos, make the doc interactive. This is where we start to, think that, all things related to, documentation and creating things is going to be super boring. That's where we kind of get into this false narrative of like, oh, it's going to take so long. It's only going to be long if you make it long. Have the right attitude, have the right attitude. It's just really, like I said, it's really, really important that when we're talking about building this particular document out, that you do it in such a way that's intentional. You put all the information that's needed. Remember, this particular doc is a building block. It's not meant to be perfect, and you don't even have to have it completed. You're just having what you need for the season that you're in. So why is this important for your team members? Oh, I'm so glad you asked that question. Why is this important for you to have this? Well, number one, when you onboard new team members, and let's say you also have existing team members, you want to make sure that they understand their role in the particular company and what's the assigned work and how it is interconnected. So, tactically speaking, having a communications plan is helping people in their functions and their roles be able to do the work and to do it well. And so they do not have to rely upon you, said CEO, to be able to say, oh, what was I supposed to be doing? Oh, how was I supposed to be doing it? Oh, I need to go and find this information out. Boop. It is already in a place in space where it's accessible. And that's what you want. You want it to be accessible. You want it to be actionable. You want it to be something where there is minimal disruption to the day by utilizing this tool, having this communications way. Let's talk quickly about external communication, especially with clients. So, what you'll want to do for external communication or client communication, I'm going to write a few notes down as well. Okay, so we're talking through client, almost like a client playbook. You definitely should have, in terms of communication, you need to communicate what happens when that scope creep comes creeping around the corner. That's effective communication. What do you do when the client's like, I want another 80 things done, and you haven't been invoiced for it, and it's something that's totally different from what you're working on now? It's going to take you another week or two complete because it deviates from the original direction. Oh yeah, you need to have a scope creep policy. We're not playing. And how you go about communicating that. I think also too, you're going to have your client onboarding. How do you go about that? Your discovery calls, how you track it, all a form of communication. Many people just think often that when we talk about communication, it's just conversation, it's volleying back and forth, or it's email etiquette. No. When we're talking about communication, we're talking about the diverse aspects of it. That scope creep policy is going to be great to communicate. Hey, I love that you are thinking outside the box. We can do this, but here's the consequence. Streamlining your communication. Client onboarding, discovery call process, what tools you're going to introduce. What are the tools and systems that you're going to introduce to your clients? Do they need to be trained? Question of the hour. So when we talk about utilizing ClickUp, the actual features that you should be looking at, and this is for the team. What I'm going to say is the fact that you want a comment feature. Maybe you want that in the custom field. That's always an option. What else is an option? You also like the comment feature inside the task. Bomb. I just posted a video on LinkedIn talking about the inside the task, which is, again, that's one of my favorite features of the task 3.0. I'm all about team comment, let's have all the conversations about the task within the task, not outside the task, all in the same place and space. So for your team members, when we're talking about for the ClickUp piece of it, I recommend wholeheartedly that you focus on that day-to-day work and conversation inside of that task feature. Absolutely. I think utilizing automations will be crucial. You want to utilize the automations just to help for the watchers or the approvers. And so watchers is a term where in ClickUp, where if you may tag someone to watch a task, not that they are directly involved in the execution of it, maybe they are someone that will approve a particular task. You can also set up a automation that, when it gets to the next stage, maybe you go from to do to in progress, there's an automation that is sent to a person that's tagged, say this has been moved to in progress. We want you to look at it. We want you to review it. So think through that. Think through how automating that particular part of the process is really going to help you. I love it. I love it. I love it. So those are some of the core features. Again, the docs feature, we just went over that. That's going to be a key aspect of your communication with your clients, with your team members, putting that inside of the actual project list as one of the views. Très magnifique. Dashboards are going to be something that everybody should utilize. So when we talk through client communication, we cannot forget about dashboards. That's where you can actually invite a team member, and a client, and be able to have, maybe it's a smaller, maybe it's like you and a coordinator or something, or you and like the marketing person with the client, and you can utilize the dashboard as a way to just set up client onboarding instructions, have approvals for them. And so, I'm going to tell you, to be quite honest, this approach was all the rage like a couple of years ago. I don't know if that is truly all the rage right now. Me, myself, I'm going to give you my expert opinion on this, because I wanted to tell you it's an option. I want so that you can explore, because I'm also a big proponent of, just because I may say I don't recommend does not mean that you should not go and investigate for yourself about what's going to work. So typically when when we're talking through setting things up inside of ClickUp, you want to be very careful about knowing your clients, knowing their tech level of strength. I think this aspect of having client portals and things is a super huge discussion. Do you use Airtable? Do you use a no-code software so that they can log in and see their information, and they can be able to quickly review things? I think there's a lot to be said on that. And so the dashboard feature, I believe, will give you an option. Absolutely, it'll give you an option to set yourself up for success. So whether you want to bring the client along in the process, where you can really kind of talk through the tasks that have been completed, maybe you're a website developer, maybe there are things that you are testing, and perhaps you want to just make sure, hey, we're going to do this presentation together, and it's you and a team member, and you want to present in some information. You can use the dashboard feature, not only to communicate with the client, but also to present information and to communicate with the client about what's going on. And so that's definitely an option, to have a dashboard feature. Go in there and build the dashboard, have a summary, have the text widget, have embeddable videos, go and pull information in the pie chart, in the bar chart, whatever that might be, by status. The world is your oyster when it comes to dashboards. It is your oyster. So go ahead and mix it up there. So, my friends, that's all that I have today. We will look into next week, looking tactically into client communication and ClickUp next week. We can do a part two, because we just can. And so we'll go through some of these features in real time. We'll talk through it again. And so I thank you all so much just for your time and attention. But just wanted to sit with you, just wanted to talk with you just a bit about this importance, this real importance of being able to effectively communicate with your clients, knowing the importance of having a plan in place, being intentional about the way in which you are going to create a process, how you're going to adopt it, the tools that you're going to use, and how that actually plays out in real time with your team members and your clients. So whether you are also too, I want to also make it clear too, utilizing Slack can be used for client communication as well. I know I talked heavily on the team communication side, but for the client side as well, you can absolutely invite your client to Slack. I feel like that is always a win. There hasn't been a part of that that's been difficult at all. Even when someone that doesn't even have a lot of tech in their lives, I have invited them. They have utilized the platform, being able to message, send information, approve things, and then you being able to have that expert one-on-one contact with the client. Fantastic. Fantastic. Hi, Marcus. Hi, Daisy. I hope that you are doing super, super well. So having a client, having Slack as an option for a client communication tool is fantastic. But better than that, having a plan for the communication is something that you want to focus on as well, and making sure that that's complete. So, my friends, that's all we got. That is all that we have here tonight. We'll be back next week, same bat time, same day, and then we will go through again more tactically. We'll bring up ClickUp, we'll bring up 3.0, and we'll kind of look through, how you may want to look at some scenarios, maybe utilizing automations and things, utilizing the docs, looking at dashboards. We'll have a lot of fun. That's it. In the show notes, you'll find out information about how you can contact me. I also am offering ClickUp VIP days, all centering around this question about how can we be able to execute our work more efficiently? How are we able to streamline our communication as well? And so the ClickUp VIP days is fire. It's me building out 3 project workflows in a day. I have a good time. We have some training as well. And this is truly a tool that can really help to diminish all miscommunication. It's going to help you centralize your work and you're going to become more productive for it. What's going on? What's going on, Ashley? Good to really see you. Good to see you. All right, y'all. I'm out.